reality. It's the best. Or is it? Between crypto, NFTs, and the metaverse, who knows what's real and what's virtual these days? Well, our first flex is coming from a pair of engineer-inventor wizards who are masters at straddling the line between the two. Two-Bit Circus creators Brent Bushnell and Eric Grabman have mixed it up in just about every medium that one can experience. And they're about to share with us their vision on what the future of reality can be. So grab your popcorn and your cotton candy, because we're off to the circus of the future. You're watching Newegg's Tech Flex. Let's do this. The Two-Bit Circus is a player's paradise with entertainment for all and everywhere. A true interactive mixed reality gamer space with the real estate to back it up.
Jeremy,
There he is.
how are you, man?
How you doing, Brent?
Great to hang out. Let's go.
I'm ready.
These are our Galaga characters recreated with Rubik's Cubes. You know, we just made up the term a micro amusement park. And the idea is sort of like an amusement park, lots of different zones. So we have a virtual reality arena, the Carnival Midway, a whole reimagined arcade, full bar, full restaurant, and then an interactive game show theater, and then our version of escape rooms, those story rooms. And so each of those are sort of zones all around. Lots of different kinds of VR. 4 players standing, 4 players seated, 4 players literally on a full motion platform rig. So you're holding onto those turrets and that whole thing is moving around. There's wind that'll blow your hair back, heated elements in the ceiling. So as you go past a fireplace in VR, you feel the heat on your face. So that level of immersion just feels so, so special. You know, this one's got actually an old battle zone. If you remember the old Atari game, that got redone in a VR experience. This is a beautiful device called Birdly. And you literally lean forward and you're flapping your wings like a bird as you fly over New York or Chicago or a Jurassic World, you know? I mean, it's like pretty incredible.
I gotta try that one.
You gotta try that one.
I definitely have to try that one.
This is a wonderful Japanese experience that is this novel controller. Arcades never died in Japan, so there's all kinds of stuff. This is that 6-player game table that we made years ago when Eric and I were dragging stuff around to parties. This is sort of an evolved version of it. We really wanted 6 because most people come to events in 2 and 4. 6 kind of guarantees you're meeting somebody new. This one is actually using an Xbox Kinect is a dance game, and so it's almost like a body Tetris. So we made this one too. You're having to move your body into different positions as you're playing. We have a wonderful video of Cardi B doing this that was just fantastic. You know, we've got a bunch of cabinets that don't exist anywhere in the world. There's a bunch of indie game makers that have continued to innovate since arcades started to go away. And this is a 10-player arcade game. 5 on 5, you know, you're all in the same world, you know, there's lots of different roles. And this is an example of passionate indie arcade makers that have continued to innovate in the space and are really still releasing just awesome stuff. And my brother too actually has made this Polycade, which is a 4-player game cabinet. So he's got partnerships with Tricky Towers and a bunch of great indie games that are wonderful games for home, but then, you know, adapting them for public so that they can be in an arcade. You gotta see this.
You know I love the Legos.
So our team took one of the arcade cabinets, made a custom arcade cabinet, and then we put the whole Lego setup in here. So you've got the prize counter, the pizza counter. This is the original Pong. This is Polybius, the legendary game that maybe or maybe didn't exist that the military was using to recruit kids that had great hand-eye coordination. But all of the classics, Starfighter and Pac-Man. So I really love it.
That's so awesome.
We made sure that Eric is in there. There he is.
Hey, I see Eric. I see the mohawk.
And then I'm in there too. I'm at the Polybius.
Of course you are.
Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. This is our Carnival Midway.
Okay.
So this is literally the ball that clowns will walk on in the circus. And we mounted this on casters, and the original model, we took a mouse and just mounted it under that. So normally you're moving the mouse over the world. And in our case, we were moving the world under the mouse. And so it sort of turned a regular mouse into a huge trackball. You remember when you throw darts at the balloons at the carnival? So this is a projector, and we've pointed cameras at it. These are all ball pit balls. It's like Candy Crush, it pops and they go away. So you're racing to try to throw all the balls at
against multiple players. Is what,
multiple
3?
players, and as many as you can fit in there throwing balls.
Okay, hey.
These are the story rooms. Come in here.
Okay.
This is Space Squad in space. This is an 18-minute experience. We're all working together. You're the captain, I'm the pilot. We've got a gunner, a science officer, and we're all flying this spaceship together. And every now and again, we gotta go to targeting and defend ourselves against the whatever it is that's attacking us. And then back to generating power. No, wait, we gotta put the fires out.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and sometimes, even that, you still destroy your ship. We also love secret stuff.
Okay.
And so we've been working on this like meta game that goes around the whole park. You know, we want the rabbit hole to go, you don't know how deep it goes, you know? So I mentioned that game show that we built for the pandemic. We're gonna basically put a big stage here so that we can do, now everybody will be able to play from their phones, play from tablets. So you could imagine a bunch of tablets and whatnot around here, host with a microphone, now running a game show, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, but people are playing live here in the building and live from home.
Wow.
So a lot of connectivity. I think we're the first company in history to do that.
Well,
so that's kind of
kudos to that. Good job. Whoa.
This is Dr. Botcher's Minute Medical School. Another one of our story rooms. We're all working together to keep Ken alive. We've got these augmented reality displays that, wait, he needs more red dye number 7. No, it's tequila. Our newest story room is called Samuel Sweetbottom's Candy Chaos. And so this is an early version of it.
Wow.
But you basically have all these little flavor crystals. Super fun, big, frenzied game. We just finished this.
I feel like I'm getting a sweet tooth already. This place is amazing.
Can you believe it?
I cannot.
This is only like 75%. My team hates when I say that, but we launched this thing half finished, and we've been iterating and going, and you know, our whole company's based upstairs, so we have like a petri dish, you know, this is like our wet lab.
I just want to thank you again for having us. You're like the perfect person for us to kick things off with.
Dude.
So it's just
I can't tell you what an honor it is to have you guys here, because literally Newegg was part of our original founding, you know? Like, I mean, literally, and I can't say that about a lot of companies.
Wow.
My background's engineering, computer science and electrical. My co-founder, Eric, is a roboticist. And in 2008, we were like, not loving the stuff that we were doing for work, and we just started collaborating, making interactive art. You know, we just wanted stuff that was physical. We wanted to be in Westworld, right? We wanted to be the characters and have the experiences all around us, you know? And if you remember, the Xbox Kinect had just been hacked, so depth sensing cameras were everywhere, right? Computer vision was open source. The Arduino had come out, right? And the Arduino, little accessible microcontroller, $35, and all of a sudden you could get access to GPIO and read whether or not there was a light sensor or sound an alarm, or, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of different ways of like interfacing with the real world. So now the game just wasn't online, or it wasn't digital. There was a way to sort of get physical. So we made a whole interactive room of laser beams, and we bounced lasers off of mirrors into a little light sensor, and whenever you broke the beam, a buzzer would go off. You know, so we had a buzzer in there and a light in there, and it was like super fun. All of a sudden you were like in Mission Impossible. And so we were ordering stuff from Newegg, getting random tech and throwing it together, and then getting our friends and being like, hey, come downtown, we got like something weird, like come play. And that was a really special moment for me, because I'd spent so much time in the digital that being able to, you know, link into the physical was a really magical thing. You know, a lot of folks were like, oh, you guys are making games? Where can I download it? And we're like, well, it's like 1,000 square feet in downtown. If you come down there, then we've got a thing for you.
What got you to this magnificent place in your tech journey?
Oh, man.
Like, where did it all start for you?
What we see here is such a good example, in my opinion, of like organic evolution. You know, it's like oftentimes I think people wait to start a project because they just like want to have a light bulb moment. You know, they're on the couch like, what should I build? And I don't know. Until I think of something, I'm not going to build something. And we just didn't really have a plan at all. We knew we liked live. We knew we liked interactive. We knew we wanted to get people together. And those were sort of the waveguides for then 1,000 projects. And so we started just testing lots of different stuff. At first we were just making, you know, interactive art for friends. We had a projected wall of on a whiteboard, and you draw on the whiteboard, and then a projection would project that would bounce off of what you drew. So it was sort of a fun little interactive, and we would take it to parties around LA. And we were just doing it for free, for fun. You know, we had a 6-player game table that we've actually still got down there. Eric and I are both trained clowns, if you can believe it. And Eric can walk on one of the huge circus balls that a clown will walk on. He had one of those, and we turned it into a big controller. We're just sort of making all these different things, playing with scale, playing with the number of people involved, always physical. We're taking those to events, and people like it. We keep making more stuff. And so somebody from Microsoft went to one of those parties and they were like, hey, this stuff's fun. Like, would you do all the entertainment for our E3 party? And we're like, what? You're gonna pay us for this? We've been dragging this stuff around for months, for free. And so it launched basically us as like a ragtag high-tech circus, like doing events. So we did huge, Intel conferences and all sorts of stuff. So we're bringing these things as sort of the entertainment, next to deadmau5 or whoever. And then we ultimately started making some custom stuff. So Intel was one of the first who were like, hey, thanks for doing our party. We'd love you to do CES with us, but we want Intel inside. Make some interactive stuff using our tech. And so then that was sort of phase 2 of us like almost, experiential engineers helping to adapt technology for public. So we built a 4-player driving game, and we took an open source driving game, some motion platforms we had. We actually built head tracking onto the Oculus dev kit before it had head tracking. We built custom cameras and integrated with Samsung's Gear VR, captured content for the Super Bowl, the Olympics, IndyCar. We strapped it to a race car, drove it at 200 miles an hour around a racetrack, so that we could then build attractions that went to the Super Bowl and on tour with NASCAR. And so we did a lot of that stuff, always in the kind of immersive space. And then we were like, gosh, we've done so many of other people's events, like why don't we have our own event? And so we built a big traveling carnival. And I sort of joke, like, because we didn't know any better. Because it was ginormous, it was 120,000 square feet.
Of carnival.
Of carnival. That's like 2 football fields.
That is, that's really big.
And it was like so fun and awesome, but we set it up for a weekend. Imagine setting up 2 football fields of stuff for a weekend. We just wanted to die afterwards.
Wow,
we were
that's
just,
heavy lifting.
It was, yeah. But it worked. We got 5,000 people a day, maybe 250 million media impressions, like, tons of sponsors and partners. And there was a lot of appetite for it. So that was the end of 2015. We opened this in 2018. And then, we had a solid year and a half before COVID. And it was bananas. We did Migos' birthday party, Cardi B showed up. We had freaking so many different events, celebrity bar mitzvah circuit.
Oh, wow.
We just had all sorts of random stuff happening.
Everyone wanted to be a part of it. Let's talk about games.
Yeah, please.
Okay, what is your favorite game here at 2-Bit right now?
Gosh, my favorite game here at 2-Bit right now is probably Space Squad. We have what we call story rooms, which we've actually been building longer than escape rooms have been around. And we think of escape rooms as a subset of a much bigger category we call story rooms. Because what happens if it's not about escaping? And you want to pilot a spaceship.
Yeah.
And so our spaceship, we've got a pilot, a gunner, a navigator, a science officer, everybody working together to keep the spaceship from blowing up. And so we're trying to pilot somewhere. We got a whole mission, but the pilot's having to be given instructions to everybody, and the captain is there, monitoring everybody, and the gunner needs to be kind of watching the ship. It's really a ton of fun. And so it's an 18-minute experience for up to 6 players, and you're all working together.
So in your early days, like your childhood, what type of games, kind of inspired that that gamer in you?
I had a pretty magical childhood. My dad invented Atari and Chuck E. Cheese. That's just bananas, right?
Your dad invented Atari. Okay, that's
weird. Yeah, I'd rarely bring that up, but it really helps to sort of put context for kind of what that meant, because he was always coming home with the latest games. We had an actual, couple of arcade cabinets. We also played a lot of board games and card games and a lot of that kind of stuff. Magic the Gathering. My brothers and I actually made our own collectible, tradable card game that we licensed to Topps baseball cards that was all around like a space theme. But we built that all with early computers. This was KPT Bryce and Photoshop before it had version numbers. We were, going to Kinko's to make print runs, to make our own little games. It's like making games was always sort of, around the house.
Yeah.
And so, we were designing our own video games, and there was this thing called HyperCard. And HyperCard, you could almost think of it as like a PowerPoint meets a video game. And so you could sort of design these slides, these cards, and then link the slides where you click here and you're gonna go over here, you click here, you're gonna go over here. And we could design all that. And so we'd make little pictures and then have these little branch narrative games. And it was so empowering as a little kid, to be able to sort of make the games that we were also getting to play. You start to feel like you can really do anything.
I mean, I can tell that you have that in you, and like that's why your energy is just it radiates over here. And I'm just happy to be in your presence. That's why you're the perfect tech journey to talk about. You know, you're flexing all the tech. But what else? I know you brought some other things that inspired you.
You know, obviously playing a ton of games growing up all the time. But you know, my dad's a nerd, an engineer, and so he was always sort of tinkering, had his little lab, and would bring us along on his journey as he was literally dialing into the internet when there were 500 computers on the internet. You know, I'll never forget him putting me in front of the Mosaic web browser, and he's like, "Here, Brent, here's the internet. Like, look around." You know, it was like 1995 or something. We compromised the phone system cabling in our house in order to play LAN, games over the Apple Talk network, and you know, so we were always experimenting with whatever tech there was, while also playing games on, you know, our Apple IIc and some of that stuff. You know, the old Sierra games and Police Quest and King's Quest. So all that stuff was super important. But the making side was always there.
How tech oriented is your day-to-day, like when you're at work? Do you got like 5 phones? Do you got like 8 tablets? You got like a Minority Report kind of room? Like, how tech?
Definitely got like a wonderful sort of cave of monitors. This last few months has been a really fun delta. Now, I've really been spending a lot more time in the creativity and the gameplay and the building lately. Actually, you want to see a cool piece of tech? I don't know if you've been following all this NFT stuff.
We have to talk about the NFT.
We got to talk about the metaverse.
We got to talk about the metaverse.
The metaverse, because I'm so obsessed with Web3. I'm having so much fun in the metaverse. I can't even tell you. I feel like a kid again, you know, because it's a little bit like the internet in 1997, where we didn't know how the internet was going to change our lives. You know, Airbnb didn't exist, all this stuff hadn't been invented yet. And yet there was this possibility that these tools were so awesome. And I feel that same possibility with Web3. And you know, Web3 is the sort of rebranding of the blockchain, metaverse, NFTs. It's sort of all of that stuff together. Distributed governance with DAOs, all of those things, DAOs, NFTs, DeFi, you know, represent such interesting shifts from how we currently interact with the world. And so a couple of examples. NFTs, those little pictures that you can buy, you know, that you can buy online, are some of the earlier groups, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, said, if you buy one of these, you not only get the personal rights, like any piece of art, you can hang it on your wall, you get the commercial rights, right? Now that's nuts. When you buy normal art and you hang it on your wall, the artist keeps the rights. You know, you just get the privilege of putting it on your wall. But if you get the commercial rights, all of a sudden you can take your Bored Ape Yacht Club thing and make a mug and make a t-shirt and do all kinds of stuff. Or make your own video game, right? Or make your own comic book. In less than a year, the Bored Ape Yacht Club has, as a result of that policy, launched multiple comic book companies, multiple cartoon companies, multiple metaverse companies, multiple game companies, all building in that same world in a way that even Disney can't compete with. You know, I mean, it's like the power of all of humanity. On the metaverse side, imagine the digital double for 2-Bit. So you and I are hanging here live. We got friends who've got COVID and can't come live, or they're across the country and so it'd be hard to get here. We could have, say, remember the head in the haunted house at Disneyland, Madame Leota, inside the sphere? Yes. Imagine if right here there was a little sphere like that, and our friend with the background subtracted video was being projected right on there at the same head height and at the same scale, so that we could be hanging with our friend who's in New York and their head's gonna be right there, but not like a boring Zoom call, you know? Or this thing Portal, which is like a beautiful Pepper's Ghost illusion, so that it looks like you're looking at a hologram. I mean, it's a full-blown hologram, but a right-sized hologram. You and I could be having this conversation and one of us would be a hologram and it almost wouldn't matter. Like we'd have all of the same stuff that you get from real-life interaction, you know? Wild. So we're literally actively building a game in the Bored Ape universe, a huge, ginormous game. In fact, I gotta show you this. I bought one of the mutant apes. We then modeled him in 3D. So this is Rusty. And Rusty, once he was modeled in 3D and imported into Snapchat's Lens Studio, all of a sudden, I now can wear this NFT as a mask. Hey, Jeremy, how's it going? Hi, Jeremy. It's really a pleasure to meet you. I've come back from the swamp, and I'm just really loving this human world. And the 80s in particular, they're just my favorite.
Well, I'm Team Mutant all the way, my friend.
Amazing. Well, I appreciate that.
That's a flex beyond measure. You're in the metaverse just flexing all over the people. I love it. I love it. And that's what we're here for. And like talking to people who don't know anything, who are skeptics of it, who don't know where it's going to go, what would be the first thing you would tell them on the metaverse?
Remember when everybody, with Web 2, which think of Web 2 as what we're living in right now, and everybody said, wow, gig workers is amazing, and sort of exposing assets, like Airbnb. You've got an extra bedroom, you can Airbnb it and make money on that. Lyft and Uber, you've got a car and you want to make some extra money on the side, so you can be a gig worker.
Yeah.
And you're basically working for the dollars, and really a lot of value is accreting to the owners of those companies. The Web3 sort of mental model that I love is gig ownership, right? So imagine that for all the things that you love and all the things that you work on, you're earning more ownership in that thing. And so here's an example. So a DAO, a distributed autonomous organization, is a style of sort of organizing and governance that's on the blockchain. So there's no CEO, there's no board of directors, but people vote on changes to the DAO based on governance tokens that they either bought into or earned. So my favorite example is Raid Guild. Raid Guild is a Web3 development company. They have JavaScript developers and artists, and they'll make your Web3 website or your NFT launch or whatever. But it's a DAO. If you're a client and you have a project, you bring $500 and the description of your project and you submit it to their website. The $500 pays for a project manager to vet your concept, go out to the rest of the DAO and say, who's a programmer that wants to work on this project? Who's an artist that wants to work on this project? And everybody who works on it is gonna get a little bit more ownership in the DAO. And 10% of the budget is gonna go back into the treasury. So this distributed network of creators all are working together, and the ones who work a lot are creating more value for it. The ones who work a little are creating less value. The ones who are working a lot are getting more ownership in the DAO. And at any time, you can rage quit, which is basically trading your governance tokens for your percentage of the DAO. Unbelievable, right?
Are we just information and data at this point? Like, does this flesh and bone even matter anymore? Is that where we're going into the future?
You can see a trend on the amount of time that we spend on devices and the jump that will happen from, we can only spend so much time looking at our phones now because we got to interface with the world.
Yeah.
The second there are lenses that are on your eyes or the glasses that you're wearing, you'll basically be online all the time, right? 90% of the time, 100%. Yeah. You'll also be looking out into the world, but you'll have a data layer, that is augmenting what you're seeing at any given time. And at that point, we are partially digital, we are already cyborgs,
True.
It's not installed, but if you took my phone away, I would not be able to do much today even, not to mention how screwed I would be tomorrow and the next day, but it is a critical piece of humanity right now, it's wild to say that, but.
We're here in Los Angeles, and I know you're bringing Two-Bit to the world soon, and until Two-Bit is actually live and in color on the metaverse.
Boom.
What are some pieces of tech people can get to kind of bring the Two-Bit Circus into their home?
Wow, man, what a great question. And it's something I so can't wait to answer more because we've been working on more and more home programs, and that interactive game show is really the beginning of that. A show that you are watching a live host. The challenges are coming into your browser, so trivia and open-ended response, sort of a lot of the game show mechanics you remember from what we watched as kids.
Yeah.
We were doing that as a regular show every month. We're getting ready to launch a whole new version of it, so I think that's one place that would be a fun way to play. I do encourage people for Web3 to get a hold of a wallet, download a wallet like MetaMask, fund it, and just play around, go and explore some of the DAOs, join a Discord, follow some of the great creators. It's a weird time in that space right now, and there's a lot of stuff getting thrown, experimented with and thrown against the wall. And I think that, the second you've got a laptop in front of you, you can run around in Sandbox right now. It's literally all web-based. You could run around in Decentraland. Those things are full-blown, legitimate metaverses that have, a connection into the blockchain. And people are building worlds in there right now. You can walk around an NFT art gallery, and Ready Player One is coming like a freight train. It really is. It's really exciting.
So, expert opinion, Brent Bushnell says go all in on the metaverse, people. So don't be hesitant. Just dive right in it head first.
Of course, a well-balanced investment portfolio. Don't go all in on Bitcoin. But in terms of your time and attention, it's well rewarded for cruising in there. And
right on, man. Well, I thank you and appreciate you for bringing this. I know you want to show us some great things.
Yeah.
We want to see it. You got more tech to flex, and that's what we're going to do, people.
So back here is where our headquarters is. It's where the back of house for the park staff. But this is part of the our design here is being able to build the stuff and then bring it out immediately, test it, see what people think.
Okay.
So we got a whole workshop.
Ooh, we're getting access, people.
So this is one of our workshops. We've got a much bigger workshop a few miles from here. Warning, it's a big mess.
I like messes.
You like messes?
I used to be one. I like your mess.
Oh man, look at this gear everywhere. I don't know how much of this came from Newegg, but a lot. We're also working on a floor is lava game. So this will be a projected floor. So as a simple version, you and I are in the room trying to get across the lava, and there's just a few bricks we can step on. The second we don't step on the bricks, the game resets, we gotta go back. Okay, so you saw the big carnival games downstairs. Huge swinging things, big, the big wheels. It starts like this. So this is a game that we're doing with these big wheels. This is an experiment on the size of the wheels. But all of them have these little encoders here. So those are just literally going into a junction box and a little microcontroller that'll get plugged into our game developers, Unity application. And so here's where we're gonna test that. Now, at some point, these three will all be nice and big like this. It'll be on a ginormous projector, and the game will be super fun, and it'll be done. Yeah. Right now, it's a big mess of components and sort of early prototypes as we figure out, is this a more fun wheel, or is this a more fun wheel? Or, we have the very real constraints of like what we're gonna find cerebrally fun, and the very real constraints of like, is this a fun action for your body to do?
Yeah.
Is this hard? Is this possible? Is it gonna work for little Johnny and his grandma? You sort of gotta experiment with a lot of stuff.
So this would be a beta night.
So this is a great example of what would be a beta night.
Sweet.
And then the very first time anybody's ever gonna play that lava game outside of 2-Bit will be a beta night. So the very first time anybody played Candy Chaos was at our beta night.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the first moment of getting to show and play and try. And come over here, let me show you my office. So
we're going to beta night.
This is all the Legos that were part of our Lego wall smashing.
Okay.
So the entire front doors of 2-Bit was this big wall of Legos, and so that was what we then, broke down.
These might not be real.
There's some horns for you. I'll take the Mohawk. I feel like we're really ready for construction, don't you?
Send this picture to my mom.
Let's do some work.
So it was literally history in the making.
History in the making. Ooh, and making and play. And I like what you did there.
Whoa.
So this is my office.
This is the flex that I was talking about.
I'm just obsessed with toys and games, and so this is actually old bowling lane. Programming with bad ergonomics, I finally went down the rabbit hole, and so I've got just nothing but a standing desk and this crazy keyboard. I've put
You got the Kinesis Keyboard?
Dude, this thing's amazing. I can type literally 10 minutes faster on this thing. Words a minute, and it's a vertical mouse, and it's just.
This is your cockpit, man. Like you are Willy Wonka.
This is an early prototype of a billiard mini golf. So imagine 6 or 8 or 10 of these. You've got a pool cue, I got a pool cue. It's like mini golf, but we're playing pool. This is Eric's paradise. You can see tons of tools, electronics, all sorts of great gear. This is from our foundation, an early Lego arcade cabinet, totally functioning. Buttons and everything built into Lego.
Well, yeah, I wish Eric could be here, but he couldn't make it, but we're gonna come back. You're gonna be seeing a lot of us.
I can't wait for you to meet him. You guys are gonna love each other.
I'm so stoked to meet him.
And if you ever have a hard time finding the place, we tried to make it easy, right? Okay. We have this huge roof and we painted a Google pin.
A Google pin?
Yeah,
you dropped a pin on the roof?
We dropped a pin on the roof, and then when Google updated their satellite imagery, we'd pre-pinned everybody's maps.
Thank you so much for inviting us in here. Newegg family loves you, and thank you for welcoming us. I can't wait to come back.
Ditto.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Great. Good times ahead.
Hey, all you guys out there that's seen this wonderful place here at the circus, I know you want to come here, but don't worry, I'm gonna send you a pin. Don't worry. You heard it here first, people. The lines between reality and virtual have officially been blurred. I, for one, will be ready for Ready Player One. Will you? Or does that sound like a hellscape? Either way, let me know in the comments below. I will be taking Brent's advice, diving into Web3 head first. But first, I'm gonna step up my VR game. So I'm gonna check out my checkout on the Newegg app. This is Newegg's Tech Flex. Like and subscribe, we got so much more in store. And special shout out to Brent Bushnell and Eric Grabman for inviting us out here to their micro amusement park. It's right here in downtown LA where you can check them out, or you can go to twobitcircus.com. Oh yeah, here's that pen I promised you guys. Until next time, I'll see you in the metaverse.